all of these things, but what we have to accept is we are going through a dramatic period of change as a business, and we have to deal with that and carve our way through it. And it's about evolution, and it is difficult, and it's painful, and it would be so much easier if you could just see how it's all going to shape out, but it isn't, and it's going to take a long time. And I think I'm going to, as I look at the four elements of change that have affected us, these are really the sort of the crunch ones that are affecting our journalistic activity. And the way these changes work is they start off with a bit of a trial with half a dozen people in a remote corner of the building, or often a separate building, doing a bit of it. And eventually they start to ingrain their way all the way through the organisation. We have sort of pushed very heavily. One of the first things we did on the web was committed to breaking news. We did it much earlier. I have to say, people told us not to do it. They said, leave that to CNN, leave it to the BBC, or leave it to Reuters. It was the best thing we did was ignore that advice. I don't quite know why we ignored it, because it was perfectly rational, but we did ignore it. Now last year we moved to, as we said, web first, which is basically breaking stories in the paper. Now we're starting to move towards 24/7 operation right the way across to newspaper. This is a profound change in the way we operate. This is not just a sort of what we do on the web. This is significant organisational change, and it's not to be taken lightly. As we've said, we have much more global horizons. We have more users outside the UK than we have inside the UK. Behaviour patterns are very different between the two. Users from the US, much less likely to come to the front page, much less likely to bookmark us, not going to stay with us over time. But we've said strategically that's one of the things we're going to shift. Users in the UK, much more likely to just come to the front page, treat us much more like a publication. So we're going there. We've hired a US editor, a fantastic journalist called Mike Tomasky. And we'll be gradually improving our offering for the US audience over the next 12 to 18 months. And that too is starting to bring revenue in for us. We're having to learn about audio and video. Now, we've done bits of this over time, but our video desk is now in place at The Guardian, and again we'll be making a launch here. Now, we are not going to be a broadcaster, a video broadcaster. That's not our aim. But this footage from one of our photographers, Sean Smith, who's now been equipped with a video camera, he spent 2 months entrenched with the American forces produced a series of programs Behind the Surge, which was shown on NBC in the US as well as on our website, is taking us in other areas of storytelling and other means of distribution that were previously inconceivable. And the fourth element, which is actually the most challenging and important for us, is the growth of community. Everything I've described about so far has been very much a linear progression in the way we tell stories.